out from underneath an economy that is struggling with anemic growth and chronic high unemployment. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Arkansas.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank the Senator from South Dakota for his leadership in this area and very much agree with the comments that he just made. Last week, while home in Arkansas, I had the opportunity to visit some of our state's excellent universities. While spending an afternoon at the University of Central Arkansas, I saw firsthand the innovative ways that UCA promotes undergraduate education in all areas, including science, arts, nursing, and business. For instance, the university's nursing program has entered into a partnership with a local hospital that will dramatically help address our state's growing nurses shortage. A day later, I was at the University of Arkansas Little Rock to see its brand new nanotechnology center. It's quite amazing. It's a state-of-the-art center that prepares students for a future in the exciting new world of nanotechnology, which in layman's terms is working with matter on an atomic and molecular scale. Arkansas is well poised to take advantage of this exciting new world of economic opportunities and capitalize on nanotechnology breakthroughs discovered at UALR and other universities throughout the state. By pooling the brain power of academic and corporate partners throughout the state, the center's research is sure to lead to advances in the field of nanotechnology. These innovative programs at UCA and UALR are perfect examples of how Arkansas's universities are moving forward with the future in mind. Our higher education institutions are in an elite class. We are blessed with top-notch facilities and premier educators. But that comes at a price. The increasing mandates Arkansas, and every state for that matter, are facing as a result of Obamacare hurts our ability to fund our state schools. The extra burden placed on the state's Medicaid program means much less money to spend for education. Our universities are forced to raise their tuition to cover the shortfall. Higher tuition puts the dream of college out of reach for many young Americans. This is why the Stafford Student Loan Program is so important. Loans help students overcome obstacles they face when it comes to accessing a quality, affordable education. My 3 daughters attended college, so I'm well aware of the financial toll tuition takes on a family's finances. So we've got to fix this issue concerning the interest rate increases before July 1st. These interest rates should not be allowed to double, but the troubles facing young Americans are greater than rising interest rates for student loans. For our graduates, it doesn't matter where you get your degree from if there are no jobs to be had once you have a diploma in your hand. And that is the problem with the job market our young people are graduating into today. The reality is that it is a tough time to be young. We have the lowest employment to population ratio for young adults since 1948. Over half of Americans under 25 who hold a bachelor's degree are unemployed or underemployed. Nearly 25 million adults live at home with their parents, not out of choice, but because they can't find work or earn enough to survive on their own. Any way you cut it, college graduates are ready to chase the American dream are having a huge roadblock awaiting them in this economy. We've got to stop this trend. We've got to work together to do this while giving Arkansas students access to the very best education possible at an affordable rate. We must also work to ensure there is a healthy job market awaiting them upon graduation. Earlier this week, the Senate majority brought forth its bill to extend the lower interest rate on federal subsidized Stafford College loans. I think everyone in this body agrees that this needs to be done, and I'm confident that we will find a way to accomplish it before the deadline. But the reason the Senate majority's proposal failed is that it's the wrong approach. Their proposal funded the extension by raising taxes on our small businesses. This idea of taxing and spending our way out of the fiscal mess is why the economy is not rebounded. Continuing down this path will only make it harder for graduates to enter the workforce. So let's do what we all agree needs to be done and extend the low-rate loans. But let's be smart about how it's paid for. The proposal supported on this side of the aisle is identical to the version that has passed the House in a bipartisan manner. It freezes the rate for a year by using money from an unused Obamacare account to pay for it. This money is just sitting there, obligated for a program that is not operating. And the President already proposed cutting it in his own budget. It is likely this money will never be spent. So let's use it for a reason we all support, protecting student loans. Student loans are supposed to increase access to college. By helping millions of Americans earn a college degree, the student loan program should be a gateway to the workforce, not a barrier. Any extension of the low-rate loans paid for by tax increases is simply that, a barrier, because tax increases stifle job creation. Let's fix the problem without making our economic situation worse and get America working again. With that, Mr. President, I note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka. President.
Senator from South Dakota. I move to rescind the quorum call.
Without objection. Mr. President, I rise today in support of H.R. 2072, the Export-Import Bank Reauthorization Act of 2012. I believe this is a jobs legislation will help provide U.S. exporters and workers with an important tool to compete in the global marketplace. The Export-Import Bank is the official export credit agency of the U.S. and it assists in financing the export of U.S. goods and services to international markets. Following the financial crisis, the bank experienced a dramatic increase in its activities as many companies struggled to find financing in the private market. Last year, the bank committed almost $33 billion in support of U.S. exports, a new record. The bank has been self-funding since 2008, returning nearly $2 billion to the Treasury. In fiscal year 2011 alone, the bank generated $400 million to offset federal spending and bring down the budget deficit. When other countries are helping their own companies with export financing, we cannot afford to unilaterally disarm in the face of this global competition. The Export-Import Bank's charter directs it to use exports to support American jobs. And last year, the Export-Import Bank supported almost 280,000 American jobs. These are jobs in cities and towns across the nation, at large companies as well as small businesses. In fact, last year, the Export-Import Bank financed more than $6 billion in exports by small businesses. In my home state of South Dakota, EXIM has worked with large and small businesses to help export goods all over the world. Last September, there was unanimous bipartisan support when we passed a 4-year reauthorization bill out of the Banking Committee. Unfortunately, that measure was blocked on the Senate floor in March. The legislation before us today reflects a bipartisan compromise developed in the House. While this bill is not perfect, I believe it is important to pass this legislation and ensure that the Export-Import Bank is able to continue providing financing assistance to American exporters and workers. This is a jobs bill. Earlier this week, the House passed this bill by an overwhelming majority, 330 to 93. This bill extends the authorization of the bank until 2014. Like the Senate bill, this legislation will increase the bank's lending authority to $140 billion. This is a significant improvement over earlier drafts in the House to only increase the cap to $113 billion. Adopting the Senate's proposed lending authority limit helps to improve this bill. There are also additional provisions in the House bill, similar to provisions in the Senate bill, that will add transparency and accountability requirements for the bank, improve the bank's information technology infrastructure, extend the bank's Sub-Saharan African Advisory Panel, and provides for greater oversight of the bank's financing and any risks it might have to taxpayers. I'm also pleased that the House included language that strengthens restrictions against companies doing business with Iran. These provisions, which reflect an earlier agreement by the House and Senate committees of jurisdiction, are vital to our efforts to increase the pressure on Iran's illicit nuclear program. I believe there are important provisions to strengthen the bill, and I am glad that the House included them. Lastly, the legislation includes the Senate language on domestic content. This language, which is supported by labor groups, has important protections in it to ensure that goods exported by the bank continue to be made in America. Although there were efforts in the House to weaken this provision, I'm pleased to see the House accepted the Senate's position on this important issue. After multiple short-term extensions, I'm relieved to see that this Congress will finally reauthorize the Export-Import Bank. I believe that by reauthorizing the Export-Import Bank, we're taking an important step in supporting American businesses and workers. I commend Minority Whip Hoyer and Majority Leader Cantor in the House for coming to an agreement. I also want to thank Majority Leader Reid for his tireless efforts in working to reauthorize the Ex-Im Bank. As chairman of the Banking Committee, over the next 3 years, I will continue to closely monitor the efforts of the Ex-Im Bank to ensure that it is effectively and efficiently supporting American exporters and workers. Today, I urge all my colleagues to support this legislation. I yield the floor. And I note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka. dispense with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I rise on the Senate floor today to pay tribute to Mary Leahy, Director of the Central Vermont Adult Basic Education, sister, friend, a lifetime educator who is retiring this month. For 40 years, Central Vermont Adult Basic Education has provided free literacy service for adults and out-of-school use. 37 of those years, Mary Leahy has been at the helm. In her role as co-director of Central Vermont Adult Basic Education, Mary dedicated herself to preparing lower-skilled workers to meet the demands of the shifting economy. Whether it's attending town halls, community centers, libraries, or knocking on doors directly, Mary has spread the word. She's recruited members for this program all over the state. I've seen the joy in the face of a grandfather able to read a children's story to a grandchild, something the grandfather was not able to do for that child's parents because he couldn't read when they were a child. In a recent article honoring Mary in the Times-Argus, Vermont Poet Laureate Sidney Lee said these kind words about Mary. This has been way beyond a job for Mary. It's really a vision of humanity that she's been dedicated to. I have an admiration for her that's pretty close to boundless. Mr. President, I agree with my friend Sidney. Mary's lifelong passion for learning has enabled countless Vermonters to gain the critical skills needed to participate in today's workforce. In our country today, 88 million adults face at least one educational barrier, such as no high school diploma or no college, or only 3 to 4% of the workers with the most limited literary proficiencies receive the basic skills training from their employers. Under Mary's guiding hand, Central Vermont Adult Basic Education has allowed Vermonters young and old to reach their full potential and be successful both in the classroom and in the workforce. And I might add, parenthetically, also just in their everyday life. Now, as her older brother, I've known Mary all her life. She is a loving, intelligent, and hard-working person. She has the soul and talent of an artist and the generosity of a saint in sharing her talent and commitment. I am so proud of Mary, and I ask unanimous consent the Times-Argus article closing a chapter be included in the record at this point.
Without objection.
And, Mr. President, I suggest the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
There's a quorum call on the floor of the Senate as the Senate continues working on a motion to move forward on a bill to prevent an increase in student loan rates. Senators might also consider a bill passed yesterday in the House to continue the Export-Import Bank charter. The House, by the way, just held a procedural vote on a bill to replace what's called the budget sequester. That bill would replace $98 billion in cuts from defense and social programs with different cuts. Those automatic cuts are set to happen at the beginning of next year. Members right now at the start of 2 hours of general debate on the bill, and you can see that live on C-SPAN. More work on student loan rates in the Senate today. Lawmakers debating whether to extend subsidies to keep loan rates from doubling on July 1st, going from 3.4 to 6.8%. Senators may hold another vote today in hopes of moving forward on the measure. We could also hear more about extending the charter of the EXIM, or Export-Import Bank. Several members came to the floor to talk about that today. The House passed the measure yesterday. The House also has just started 2 hours of general debate on a bill that would replace automatic spending cuts that are set to take place in January of next year with new alternative cuts. The budget sequester would automatically cut $98 billion from defense and social programs unless Congress passes other cuts. 6 House committees came up with alternative cuts, and the House will vote on them today. The House will finish work also on $51 billion in spending next budget year on the Commerce and Justice Departments, as well as NASA and other science programs. You can see all of that debate on our companion network, C-SPAN. On C-SPAN 3 right now, the House Oversight Committee is holding a hearing on vacant Inspector General posts. Right now, 10 of the government's 73 Inspector General posts are vacant. Inspectors General are internal investigators. Their job is to find waste, fraud, and abuse in government, and that hearing hopes to get to the bottom of the delay in naming new people to those positions. That hearing underway right now, live on C-SPAN 3.
Connecticut is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today on an issue that concerns